Hello and welcome to the Christmas special episode for Series 3 of Recall the Midwife. I'm Alex.
I'm Becky.
I'm Jenn. And just a reminder that this week's episode deals with severe mental health, adoption, and a discussion of child abuse. So if those topics are ones you would prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one.
It's Christmas 1959 and Cynthia talks to Sister Julienne about taking her religious vows. When Trixie finds out, she struggles with Cynthia's decision. At the clinic, Chummy and Patsy are helping Denise and Avril. Both are young, unmarried, expectant mothers that are going to be staying at Astor Lodge to deliver their babies, a mother and baby home. Astor Lodge is run by Sister Maltby, who drinks gin and is disinterested in actually caring for the expectant mothers. Avril takes matters into her own hands when Denise becomes unwell and the matron refuses to help. She calls Nonnatus house and Patsy and Chummy step into the breach. While Chummy is away from home, Peter struggles with Freddie, who is unwell while also trying to study for his sergeant's exam. Meanwhile, Sheila comes to the aid of Victor McKenty in the market when he suffers an epileptic fit. He suffers a burn on his leg, so comes under the care of the district nurses. When Cynthia is dressing Victor's burn, she meets Nancy, his partner, who believes that she is pregnant. Victor and Nancy met in a mental institution, and Dr. Turner must break the news that Nancy can never conceive a child. I've left it on a bit of a cliffhanger there.
Well, we can discuss, can't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Synopsis, Bexton. Right, okay,
Very
what are we doing first? Can I just say I love a Christmas episode?
Yeah. Should we talk about the mother and baby home?
Yes,
Yeah.
although, wait, sorry, I just said yes, and then I'm going to divert us just a little bit. Should we just have a quick moment for the concept of the episode, which is Jenny in the 1950s has just said goodbye to Nonnatus house with Philip Worth. She's gone off or whatever. And then this Christmas episode that follows it right after, we begin with Vanessa Redgrave.
Yeah.
Like the old.
I should have mentioned this in the synopsis.
No.
Also, the fact that her husband Philip's got shorter because he was a lot taller than Jenny, and suddenly he's shorter.
Listen,
It's
But
age.
also, I was loving it because it started with her writing a Christmas letter. Like my mum did loads of Christmas letters, and my grandma did loads of Christmas letters. I think they've gone in this day and age because of social media. We all know what we're all up to nowadays.
Well, I have to say, Christmas cards are massive in our house. My mom is a huge Christmas card person. I haven't done them as much, but
Yeah, but it wasn't just Christmas cards, was it? It was Christmas letters. You know, when they put the letter into the
Wasn't she just writing a note in the card?
Oh right. Well,
She was just writing a long. I'm not. I don't approve of people who write letters.
You approve.
You know, not letters in general. You know, when you get, if it's personalised, fair dues. But you know, and apologies to any of our listeners who do this, people who send a long letter, which basically it's the same letter that goes to everybody.
The form letter that's like, this is what our family did in 2022 or
and
whatever.
It basically just details their achievements.
Do you know what? We used to get a letter every Christmas, and we used to take the mick every year. I'm going to say the name of the family. They won't be listening. The Morries and the mum. Oh God, it was insufferable. They were like, oh, you know, they had 4 kids and they were all geniuses apart from one. And they were like, oh, they've gone to Cambridge to study medicine. And they're like, oh yeah, he's doing really well as an internship as president of the world. And then like the third one, they were like, oh, she's got lovely long blonde hair and it's beautiful and she's really good at dancing. Like it was like she likes going to discos. I remember we just laughed at that loads. Also, did you know photos of Jimmy?
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So, okay, 2 things. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but Jennifer Worth says at the beginning of her book that the nuns actually didn't stay in London after a certain point. They moved to Birmingham. And if you notice, Vanessa Redgrave is addressing her letter to Birmingham, which I think is a note is interesting as well. Now, I would this is an episode and a scene where I would love to talk to the people like behind the scenes in the show, because a couple of times in the episode they pan across the mantle and there's photos in like vintage frames of, you know, like young Jenny, young Trixie, Cynthia, you know, all the people from the show, but there's a photo of a woman and 2 girls, and I think my theory is that is the real Jennifer Worth and her daughters when they were young.
Oh, see, I thought it was supposed to be her and her two daughters. So yeah, that would make
Yeah,
sense.
but maybe it is the real.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Yeah, but I think we all agree that that's the real Jennifer Worth and her two little girls when they're like, they look like they're maybe like, I don't know, 8 and 6, 4 and 6, somewhere in that kind of ballpark or whatever like that.
Okay.
Because she kind of looks like Jenny, but not exactly. You know what I mean? And it just, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's the real Jennifer Worth.
I just have to, well, we're talking about the Christmas cards. My great aunt, my mum got a Christmas card from my great aunt once, and it just, because obviously I like to write a message in a Christmas card, but this Christmas card just said, yep, still alive.
We used to get one from my mum's Auntie Claire that used to say, here's a fiver for the boys, because she had so many. Like my mum's from a massive Catholic family with like 42 cousins one side, and obviously Liam and Alex, like my brothers Liam and Alex, like obviously she'd just be like, oh, Alex boys' name, she'd be like, for the boys, and I should get dead annoyed at it. But then looking back now, she had a billion to send, bless her.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that's just very cool because, you know, like we've all talked about, you know, Vanessa Redgrave on the show, but to see her in the episode, I think we all really enjoyed that, and she's so great and she's so beautiful, and like seeing her and Philip and everything. Anyways, it was really nice. So, but basically the show begins with the two of them in their, you know, kind of later years, and then it's kind of like, let's travel back in time, and then we go back to 1959.
1959.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm doing it to the Prince song 1999. Anyway.
I should have probably mentioned this when we were talking about Victor McKenty, because he's also selling Christmas trees. But I just love when Sister Monica Joan was buying the Christmas tree, and she says she only wants a Christmas tree that has come from Allied soil. I just love Sister Monica Joan in this episode, and also the bit where Sister Evangelina's really cross with her because she's arranged the nativity in conversational groups.
I've got that. What's the ass gonna say to the angel Gabriel?
What have they got to talk about? Okay, well, if we're just gonna have a quick moment about Sister Monica Joan, I actually have I have to give her put her on blast or whatever for just being so incredibly insensitive and rude. So Sister Monica Joan, they're all in the living room area or whatever, and she starts reciting something, and Trixie goes, "Oh, Sister Monica Joan, is that Yeats?" And she's like, "Oh wow, like look at you, like yeah it is, you know that and everything." She's like, "Oh well, you know," and then she goes, and I've thought about this word literally like 100 times. She's like, "Well, that's just quite perspicacity of you." And she's like, "You know, when you started," and basically what she says is she's like, "You know, when you started dating Tom, I really didn't think that you'd be able to like hold a conversation with him because he's so smart and you're really dumb. But like, actually, look at this. It's working out. Like, well, you held your own. I'm quite impressed." And Trixie gives this look, and I just thought, Sister Monica Joan. Oh man, I mean.
Yeah, but it's
never fails to be like a huge jerk. Like
with all right, Jen, if that was 2023, she'd be cancelled. But it's 59, so it just went fine.
She's just so like just oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, I like the Allied soil line as well, but I'm just like, you're so nice.
Also, she was good with the croup.
She was very good. She recognized it. She got him in a steamy bathroom.
Well, I mean, all of them could have done that. Sorry, like.
No, but I will say, Bob's had my daughter had croup, and it was the most terrifying, horrible thing because they can't breathe. And
I completely agree. But if any one of the other ones had answered the door, they would have done the exact same thing. Sorry, I'm just not going to give her that much credit. They've all seen croup 100 times. It's one of the most common baby problems. Come on now.
You know, that was the one of the time. Have I ever run 111 again? I don't think I have. That's the only time I've run 111 for her was when she had croup, and she was literally 14 months old, same as Freddie, and it was absolutely horrendous.
Is 111 like emergency services?
It is, but not as important as 999. So 111's like a one you ring. That's when you're like, I'm not going to get an ambulance. I just want to speak to a doctor.
Okay, I thought 999 was your emergency. So.
Oh no, it is. But 111 is like if they'll give you advice on what you should do. But then half the time they're like, you should probably take the yeah.
And it was 2 a.m. I'm like, I'm not taking to A&E. And she's like, and I was like, yeah, you'll just be fine till the morning.
Also, Tim being desperate for a fake Christmas tree.
Yeah.
When instead of instead of a real tree. Now roles are reversed. Like it's posh to have a real tree.
Yeah. My husband's absolutely desperate for a real tree, and I'm like, if you are going to do the getting all the stuff up and hoover it all the time, you can get one. But this year we didn't even bother. We just carried on with the fake tree. I did love the fact that he got his silver tree though.
And what do you do, Bex? Do you do a real tree, fake tree?
I've got a fake tree.
Okay. See, I'm a real tree or nothing. We always grew up with a real tree, so if we're gonna have a tree, it has to be a real one.
I'm actually shocked you got a real tree, Bex. I thought you'd be a fake tree. Other way around. I'm shocked you've got a fake tree. I thought you'd have a real tree, is what I meant.
And I grew up with a truly fake tree because we had this tiny tree which didn't look anything like a tree, and it was so small that we had to stand it on a tabletop.
Oh, my mom tried to do the whole tabletop tree one year, and I was like, I automatically vetoed. I was
that's
like,
unacceptable. No. That is unacceptable.
A tabletop tree to me is the most depressing thing on earth. I was like, no.
We always had a really good fake tree. There's always a story about me when I was little. You know, in the 80s, they used to have chocolate. They were much more prevalent than they are now. Little chocolate foil wrapped decorations that you put on the tree. Cadbury's one.
You still get those?
You do, but they're not as big as they are now. They were everywhere in the 80s. Just like all the tinsel decorations over here. You can't really get them as much now, Bex. If you find some,
you
send
can.
Me. I've been looking. We can't get around here.
Oh, well, they're big down south.
Might be a hot spot for them. So anyway, we used to have stairs that had holes through, like, you know, like they were just wooden slats kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was about 18 months old, and the babysitter like lost me, and I was halfway up the stairs, like putting my head through, and I grabbed a massive branch, pulled it off the fake tree, and went down to her with it to get the chocolate off it. Ingenuity. Anyway, kids, let's actually do somewhere. Let's do an episode. What are we doing first then?
So should we start with the mother and baby home?
Yes.
Okay.
Jen, do you want to go somewhere else?
Well, that just what are I mean, no, we can. I don't know why that one felt like the biggest storyline.
There's obviously Cynthia. That's one storyline. There's Peter left at home with Freddie, getting ready for his sergeant's exams.
Mm-hmm.
We got Nancy and Victor. Do you want to just get Nancy and Victor out of the way?
Yeah, let's do them first, because it's a really big, important storyline, but it's not maybe the main. To me, the maternity home is kind of the bigger one, but because it kind of feeds into everything else, like at Nanata's house. You know what I mean? Like it affects Dr. Turner and Sheila. It affects Peter and Chummy. It affects anyway. So
can I just say one thing about Dr. Turner and Sheila this week? You know, in the news recently, on social media recently, there's been this whole Nepo baby thing.
Oh, yeah, for ages.
The original Nepo baby from 1959 was Angela Turner getting to the front of the queue for her vaccination. He was like, yeah, no queuing for you. And if you were a mum there, you'd be like, cheeky
bugger. Oh, go on, Jem.
No, go ahead. So,
I was just going to launch into it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, now I'm.
You guys, are we all tired? Are we like not really here today?
I had a 2-hour nap today, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's helped my my verboseness.
Okay, so Victor and Nancy, right?
But it's because I couldn't read my own handwriting. I've got it now.
No, that's fine. So Victor works at the Christmas tree like selling stock area,
and he will help.
Yeah, he's just trying to get work on the market, isn't he?
Yeah, and we meet him when Sister Monica Joan and Fred go to buy a Christmas tree. Now Fred is like, "Oh, I'm here to get the tree," and Sister Monica Joan is like, "Well, me too." And Fred's like, "Well, I'm here to make sure that we don't kind of go crazy or whatever." So anyway, so they meet Victor. Victor delivers the tree with Fred and Sister Monica Joan back to Nanata's house.
Can I just say the massive tree? The massive tree.
Yeah, literally taller than the ceiling. Like Fred has to trim the top to even get it to stand up straight.
Also, Trixie's lull when they do that as well is amazing. But carry on.
Yeah. So after they like put the tree down and everything, Cynthia packs up some mince pies and runs after Victor. And
did you notice, by the way, that Victor was very nervous around them? I think he saw their uniforms. And sort
do you
of
know what? I was just going to ask this because he acts really strange, and I didn't know if it was because he was hungry and they had a really nice spread.
No, I thought it was because he'd been in an institution where they'd basically given him a lobotomy, and he was a bit.
Yeah, so I think your theory makes more sense.
But like, he's a bit untrusting of medical figures, I think.
Well,
yeah, because when Cynthia runs after him, he's not keen to stop, is he? Sorry,
No.
Jen.
I'm not going to really add anything that special here, but I just, as someone who had not really remembered this episode and felt like I was kind of watching it in a way for the first time again, that like I didn't have any. I got the sense that he was uncomfortable, but to me, I didn't like it. Didn't strike any bells for me at the time that there was anything connected to his medical history. Like, yes, later in hindsight, I could look back and say that, but I kind of more thought that he was just, you know, a bit shy and kind of awkward or whatever when he was in there, and kind of didn't, you know, just thought, oh, I'm gonna just kind of get it and go. But anyway, so Cynthia gives him the mince pies, and Alex and Bex, not just that insight is very valuable, and I think it is meaningful.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
I'm just a thicko in this way, and I just didn't have that insight. Is all I'm saying, really.
You know, when they had to cut the top out of the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
It reminded me. So my grandma and granddad lived in this little village in Surrey, and this village must have been twinned with somewhere in Norway or something, and they would be donated this like massive Christmas tree every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then one year my granddad and my mum's uncle Tom got really drunk and they stole the top out of the village Christmas tree for their actual Christmas tree.
OMG, Bex, imagine if they like they get arrested or something now, even though they're dead. Like, this solves a years-long mystery.
How did they steal the top of it?
They just in the middle of the night they sawed the top. They got a ladder and sawed the top out of it.
That is absolutely nuts.
It's also a bit grinchy. It's a bit grinchy for the kids in that village.
Like the top of the tree, especially a really, really big one, is the hardest to get. I mean, that like, and if you're gonna get the top, like theoretically, you're gonna get like they cut off like 6 feet off the top, and did it just fall down? And like, I mean, oh my god, that is crazy.
I know. I think it must have made the local news. I'd love to find a newspaper article about it.
Well, we can look into that. We'll sort
it out.
Yeah,
right now, who did Victor? Hang on. Let's get back on track. We've been well off track.
Sorry.
So, who did Victor go home to? Do you recognise the woman who she's played before?
She was in EastEnders.
Yeah. Do you hang on, Jen? Do you remember? It was when we were at uni, I think.
I have most recently seen her on Grantchester as the wife of the detective.
No,
so I don't remember her from before.
Go on, Bex. You can do the big reveal.
I can't remember her name. Didn't she kill someone with an iron?
She did. She killed Trevor. Little Mo. It was Little Mo.
It's Little Mo.
Oh my god, I do remember that storyline.
Yes, I thought you did.
Oh, so long ago. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
talk about a memory.
You need together, Jen. I never even watched EastEnders apart from that storyline.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that like unlocked a memory that has literally. I mean, talk about dusty. Jeez,
It also shows you diversity of her acting skills there.
Yeah. Oh, she's great. She's really
she was
great.
brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
I have to say, when Cynthia goes out and is treating Victor, and then she sees the tin that says baby on it.
Yeah.
And then Cynthia's like, is somebody expecting a baby? That's quite a leap to take, isn't it?
Really?
Well, to be fair, though, yeah, but
why is that a leap to take?
To be fair, though, they're quite simple folks. You'd be thinking, well, they're saving for a baby. Like,
I don't know. I was
going to be the neighbours.
Wait, Al, I don't understand what you're saying. You think there's what?
Well, I'm saying, like, I don't see how, like, they're not the brightest of sparks. She knows that, right? And I just don't think there's going to be, like, all this complicated accounting there. Like, I think if something says baby on the tin, they're saving for a baby. Like, I don't think it's too much of a leap of Cynthia to make.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with that. When she says, "Oh, is someone expecting a baby?" I was like, "Yeah, that would be to me the natural next question." Like, assuming that a baby is.
Hang on, we forget Becky doesn't ask questions. So
that's right. Privacy is of utmost importance to Bex at all times.
Okay, on this note, did you notice, this is off this storyline, did you notice when Trixie was trying to question Cynthia and Cynthia was like, I don't want to talk about it? I was like, Trixie, respect the fact that she doesn't want to talk about it.
Do you know what? I actually agreed though with that.
You can't pick
They're
and
just
choose.
friends, Bex. They're not married. Like if she was married, that's even more questions because she could be a nun.
Are you guys talking about the part where Cynthia's upset and she's in the bedroom?
Yeah.
She says that.
We'll fast forward it. We'll talk about that later.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's just.
Yeah.
So
We'll fight about it. We'll fight about it in about 20 minutes.
So we cut to another bit where Victor
is
selling trees again outside.
Yeah.
And he starts fitting, but luckily Sheila's there with Tim and Angela shopping for trees, even though he doesn't want to go, but he does get to go to Woolworths afterwards, or hopefully he will, to get some nice modern decorations.
Yeah, I jumped ahead a bit because I've already talked about Cynthia being at the house.
Yeah, but the seizure prompts care, which then leads them to connecting with Dr. Turner, which then leads Cynthia to go as a district nurse to visit and care for his leg.
But it also leads us to find out about their history as well.
Right. Well, because that's when Cynthia says, is someone expecting a baby? And then Nancy says, oh, basically it's me. And then they're like, okay, well, why don't, like, since we're midwives as well, like, we need to get you checked out, like, figure out when your, due date is, like, all these things is really important for the health of the baby. And she's very dubious, very, very, very skeptical about it.
Doctors, do I, Victor? They are not kind. And I was like, oh,
it's tragic, truly.
Cynthia was so supportive and lovely.
Yeah, well, doctors honestly have a very bad reputation on this show, and like no wonder why, because of how they historically treat people at this time period. But so anyway, so she's like, no, it'll be okay. We'll be gentle and all those things like that. So anyway, jump to then they've done like a pregnancy test and some other testing and everything on Nancy, and Dr. Turner and Cynthia together are sitting with Nancy and Victor in his office, and he said, and just crucial part that I forgot to mention, when Cynthia is doing the physical exam on Nancy, she sees a scar running up her tummy, like from her kind of groin area up to her like belly button, and she says, oh, what's this for? And she says, oh, well, the doctors gave me an operation to like even out my cycles because they said that it'd be better for me that way. And then she says, oh, really? And then she says, yeah, well, it happened at the same time as the operation on my head. And then they said, oh my goodness. And so she pulls her knit cap off, and there's a scar across her forehead, like from left to right, basically. And so then that leads them to think like, oh my goodness, what happens? Well, they pull the medical records, they figure it out. Basically, Nancy had a tubal ligation when she was at the mental institution. So that was like forced sterility. And then she had a lobotomy at the same time. Again, without the way they discuss it makes it sounds like it was, without explanation or consent at the time. And so they say to Nancy, well, what happened? Like they said, well, and Nancy basically says that, before I had the operations, I always wanted to dance. I was very like physically active and everything. And then after that, it was like the music went out of my head. I just didn't want to move around anymore. And I became very, still. And when they tell her that she isn't going to have the baby,
she's like, have I imagined it all? Have I been ill in my head again? Oh.
Yeah. Now, did she actually have a phantom pregnancy, or was she just bloated and thought she was pregnant?
Well, I think she'd gone through menopause, so her periods had changed and stopped. She probably was having a lot of like symptoms that she was attributing incorrectly to a pregnancy. And then maybe she had some weight gain. I don't know. And so
she wasn't having a proper phantom pregnancy. She was just confusing other symptoms.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. But then she ran out the office, the doctor's office. And then he was like, Nancy, I love you. And then they had this really dramatic music that just made me burst into tears. And I've written a note here that's basically like, I wish music came on in moments in my life to make them more dramatic. Because sometimes there's like a really dramatic moment that you think's dramatic, but there's nothing. Like sometimes you think, am I overreacting, or is it actually dramatic, or is it this? Yeah. I just wish we did actually have. I'm hoping in the future someone listening to this, and they're thinking, do you know what? That'd be good. They're good. I can make music happen in people's lives.
I also love a montage. So it's a shame you can't have a montage of your life.
I want a montage.
You can at your funeral, Bex. I'll do it.
Thanks.
I want a montage of me making dinner so that I don't have to spend a full like 30 to 45 minutes slaving over a hot stove, that I could just like show me like pulling things out of the cupboard, stirring like one thing, and then like just automatically pulling something out of the oven, and then it'd be like bloop, here we go. And then like
it's called batch cooking. So anyway, they're on the floor with this dramatic music, and he's like, I love you, Nancy. And he's like, you give me what you can, and I give you what I can. My blessing is that you let me and ask for no more, and we're both made whole by it. And then I just cried.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah. They're a lovely couple. I'm so glad they found each other.
Really sweet. Really sweet. Who they kind of remind me of is
Posh and Bex.
Oh, Lord. No. I can't remember their names now, but the couple from season 1 that were from the workhouse that he was sick with.
Brother and sister.
The incest case.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like not the incest part, but the part that like these two people had a really, really, really painful past, but that like they like were, you know,
They
really,
found
really,
solace in each other.
yeah, they were really loving and really supportive and really
The brother and
understanding of each
sister
other. And
who,
like,
yeah, shared a
yeah,
bed.
and like
Yeah.
two people who like really like would be so
Were
impossible
related and
for
shared a
anyone
bed, yeah.
else to. Anyways,
They've gone too far.
their love is love, okay, and that is what I am recognizing as a similarity between these
No, I'm
two
sorry,
people.
we're not having this
no,
podcast supporting incest, Jen.
No,
I've never supported it. I'm
You just
just
said love
saying.
is love.
you
Like,
just
no.
defended it with love is love.
I'm
That's
saying the
a whole
love part is the part that reminded me of it, not the other stuff. I'm saying
brotherly and sisterly love. Yes.
oh Lord, I never should have
Romantic
said anything.
love, no.
Okay, thank you. Next. All right. So what other storyline do we want to go to? Should we just do Cynthia then? Because this kind of leads into her thing, because when Victor says that to Nancy, then that gives Cynthia like a huge revelatory, you know, kind of moment about her future. But before that, we learn that when she goes into Sister Julian that she's contemplating entering the convent.
Well, I've got a question here. What would you do or say if your child wanted to be a nun? Do you think you'd be happy, disappointed, sad, like supportive? What do you think? How do you think you would react?
Thing is, you don't know how her parents react, do you? I can understand with Trixie.
I think they're supportive because they're there in Compline, aren't they? At the end of the other nuns, with all the other nuns who are just
Who? Trixie and Patsy.
No, her parents.
Her parents, when she goes, when she's wearing the outfit of the novitiate and she goes in for the service, and it's right before she leaves to go to the mother house with all the other prospective.
I think if I had more than one child, I'd be fully supportive. If I only had one child, I'd be like, oh, I would really like some grandchildren.
See, I've obviously only got one, and obviously she's 5, so it's very different. But I think I'd be absolutely fine with it. But like, you've got to hope that you'd want them to just be happy. And obviously, she looked so happy, didn't she?
Yeah,
If it's what my child. I just think if it's what your child really, really wants, then yeah, like 100% would be happy about it. This is actually something I've thought other times, because when Sister Monica Joan talks about the fact that her family was so angry that she joined the sisterhood,
yeah.
And even when Sister Evangelina's brother is like, I really do not get like how you're a sister.
I think that's why it came to me, because I've been thinking it myself for the last few episodes.
Yeah, I mean,
but with Cynthia as well, like she doesn't have to give up. I know she's given up certain aspects of her life, but she can still carry on being a midwife.
Yeah. I think the thing that I would struggle with, and this is not the case with this order, is I wouldn't want to I would really struggle if my child chose something that would like really take me away from them or really separate me from them. And if it was, you know, like that would be the
like
thing.
Like a vow of silence for life.
Yeah, like I'm gonna live like in something and I'm never gonna get to see you again or something like that. Like as long as like we could still, you know, like, you know, be a family and like see each other and talk and be in communication and all that kind of stuff, then that wouldn't bother me.
Good. Yep. Right. Anyway, so right, awkward conversation with Cynthia and Trixie. So they're all coming back in a lovely snow, and it was so lovely. And there was Cynthia, Trixie, Patsy, and Tom Hereward, right? And it's all lovely, gorgeous. Like, and it's a Christmas episode, and the snow's there, and it's lovely. And they're all are they having chips.
Yeah, yeah. They just talked about seeing a choral concert, like the Christmas music, and how nice it was. And
they were talking about the nun's life and how, like, Trixie was basically saying, "Oh, I don't," and Patsy basically saying, "Oh God, you know, I can't believe they've got to do that. It's their life." And like, you know, they've actually chosen to do this. And Cynthia's like, well, maybe it was for a reason. Maybe they you know, they wanted to. It wasn't, grief doesn't come into it. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like looking really confused. And she's like, I feel as though I'm on the edge of a great happiness. And I thought that was so lovely. And she looks so happy. And then Trixie's all angry, being like, did you know about this to Tom? And then
I love this bit because Tom's face is like, he's just beaming because he's like, Cynthia has found her calling. And Trixie's just outraged, which is exactly what I would be.
But wait, like, you'd be the Tom or you'd be the Trixie?
I'd be Trixie. I'd be like, why has nobody told me about this?
Hang on, no, that's a question, Bex.
We don't discuss private personal matters in these relationships.
I think I would be the Patsy here. Like I'd be like, oh sugar. Like I'd be like, oh, hang on, like trying to sort it. And then, do you know what did annoy me? The boyfriend comment when she was like, if she just had a good boyfriend, and like he's like, whoa, mate, because obviously she's a lesbian.
Yeah, and I'd be Patsy here because I'd be like,
having a boyfriend is completely irrelevant to most.
Exactly.
Like life choices should never be determined on what your previous, present, whatever potential future relationship status could be. Ever.
And then then Patsy says a really good line here because she was talking with Trixie, was saying if she just found a good boyfriend, she'd be all sorted out. And she's like, the trouble is it's our hope versus her faith, and I'm not sure that's a fair fight. Which I thought was a really good line. And Cynthia doesn't want to talk to her there, which I agree with Bex. I think Cynthia is right not to want to talk to her there because it's she doesn't owe her an explanation. She's just a friend. She's not.
But I can understand why Trixie is struggling with this because it is going to take her away. It's like when Sheila's basically done the opposite.
Yeah, the reverse. Yeah.
And when Sheila would see the girls like getting ready and like she'd want to be part of that and like the girl chat and all of that business.
Mm-hmm.
Although they're still doing the same thing, it's very separate. And I think Trixie, she is losing a part of it with Cynthia.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's still a friend. Like, you've got to be happy for them.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think she's allowed to be. I think she's allowed to feel how she's feeling.
Well, I think
because she does come round at the end. She does come round at the end when she's like, "This is your true calling." She just needs to work it out and get to that point.
Well, also Cynthia was going on to Juliet and Sister Juliet. There was a lovely scene about Cynthia and Juliet, Sister Juliet talking about the longing. She was like, when does it end? What that? And she was like, what, the confusion? She's like, no, the longing. And she's like, you're ready, my child. Like, you're ready to do it. But then, yeah.
Well, can I just say, because I want to talk about that scene between Cynthia and Sister Julianne as well, because I think it's so beautiful. But I'm just going to kind of be with Bex here on this one. And I'm going to make an analogy, which is purely my own, but if you guys can agree or disagree, whatever you want. I think that this, like, just like Sister Julianne struggled when Sheila left the convent, and then just like Trixie's struggling with Cynthia, there is a foundational, or like this is a massive change in identity. Like there is something you are not going to be anymore in favor of being this new person. Like, you're still there, you're still yourself. Like, like Cynthia and Trixie will still be friends, they can still be in touch, but like Cynthia will be kind of a different person. There'll be a separation. And to me, the analogy that I would make to it is like when a really like close person in your life gets married or has a baby or something like that. I've found that in friendships, relationships myself, where like they're still your friend, you're still really, really close, but like they are different, they have different priorities, they have like a different life that they're kind of going off to, and like no matter how much you love them and like they love you, and like you still will be so close. Like, it is a really, really big change, and like you're never going to be the way that you were before that big change took place. Like, you just have to let go of like that previous like way that you were, like that previous relationship, and then like forge a new way forward. And like, while I don't think Trixie, like, it would have been nice if she'd been more supportive from the word go to Cynthia's thing, it also didn't surprise me that she kind of struggled with it and was like really afraid of losing like someone she's been so
deal with struggling. I just think she was a bit unreasonable and a bit angry with Cynthia, and I was a bit like, whoa, calm it. Like, she doesn't know you were a bloody thing.
But then the other thing is
processing it.
Well,
yeah, and also Cynthia hasn't taken her to one side and been like, look, Trixie, I need to talk to you. There's something that's really, I've been thinking, like, she's not given her she's not told her about it one-to-one. And I think that's what
she doesn't know yet either, like herself. Like, if she, I think she decided.
It's come as a bolt out of the blue for Trixie. So I can understand why that's her.
Yeah, but again, I just still don't think it's that. Like, I think she could have handled it a lot better than she has. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I think it's understandable how she handled it.
I just think you can't always expect people to have like the most perfect reaction that like would be the ideal one, like from the second like you learn something about.
True.
I mean, like,
not everyone's like me, and that's the perfect.
Also, Trixie has expressed exactly how she's feeling about the situation because it's a TV show and she needs to act it out. Like, you might have those thoughts internally. Do you know what I mean? And then get to the same place.
Yeah, maybe you just like bit your tongue and didn't say anything in those moments, but you know what I mean? But like, you know, Trixie
was
just
still
kind
thinking
of...
the same thing.
I think I'm just a bit annoyed with Trixie recently. These last few episodes, she's just annoyed me.
I'm on her side. I gotta be honest. I just feel like I get where I
get where she's coming from.
So you basically got anger problems like Trixie. Anyway, so so shall we just fast forward to the bit at the very end with Cynthia, just to finish off the Cynthia storyline?
Okay. Yeah.
So I've put here, can I just say, in my defense, I've put Trixie came through in the end.
She did.
Yeah.
And then pulled it back to crap again by saying they may change her name, etc., getting upset about that. But you won't change. And then she was like, they may change your name, and getting a bit upset again. And she was like, but you won't change. And I was thinking, yeah, you won't change. You'll still be an annoying whiny cow. So then, but she
can't believe how hard you're being on her.
It's mental. Oh, it's fine. So anyway, she came out in a postulant uniform. Is it a uniform? Yeah. Call it a uniform?
Outfit.
Postulant, robes. Anyway, she came out in a postulant stuff and she looked amazing and so happy and glowing. And Trixie did pull it back by being like, I was going to ask if you were ready, but I can see you are. And then they went into Complin with the extra nuns who just come in whenever they want and don't help. And her mum and dad were there, and that was so sweet. Seeing her mum and dad, they looked so proud and happy, and it was just so lovely.
Yeah.
Also, can I just say as well, Cynthia went to speak to her parents about the decision because she wanted to tell them face to face because they're more important than Trixie. And she went in the snow, right? The snow didn't stop Cynthia, but it did stop Chummy.
Yeah. Well, we don't know where she was traveling to.
No, I know, but still.
Also, I think Cynthia left earlier. I will say this, just because I did want to touch on it really quickly. The conversation between Sister Julienne and Cynthia about, like they were in the chapel and Cynthia was like, I've really been feeling like anxious about this decision. I don't really know. Like, and then she says, like, what do I have to offer? What do I have to give? Like, how could he have chosen me for this? Like, that just feels like, who am I to even be selected for this kind of, great purpose? Obviously she's referencing, God there. And to me, it was just not something we really chat about so much on the show, but like, to me, it was just a very, very beautiful conversation about faith and about someone who's, really been doing a lot of soul searching about, like a faith journey and, kind of reconciling themselves, but also feeling excited about it, but feeling nervous and everything. And I just thought it was so beautiful because I think, especially for people like us who live in the, we're not in the religious life, that I don't know kind of where the writing of that scene, came from, but to me that just felt so loving and respectful and like honoring that that kind of life experience. And I just really, really liked it. I think very often, the depictions of people with faith are, they can be a little bit tough at times. And to me, that was just it was so positive. And I just thought for anybody who might be considering that or who's already made that choice or even just, who has a faith life and whatever, that just felt very affirming to me as like a positive depiction of a faith
and it's also quite a toxic thing in this show. It's always in the background, their faith, but it's not really the forefront of the conversation. So it's quite nice to have it as a forefront sometimes because they are all about faith. They're nuns, for God's sake.
But they like never hit you over the head with like the the religious stuff, but yet at the same time, like they live their faith every single day, and that is the ultimate example of a faithful life. So I so love that.
That was amazing.
And we've not even spoken about the mother and baby home yet, which I've been desperate to talk about since the start of this thing.
All right, take it away, Bex.
Oh no, I've got nothing to say. Yes. So Denise and Avril are going off to the baby home. Denise and Avril are two very different. I feel like they've come from two very different places. Avril is very worldly, or seems very worldly.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing a mink hat.
She has a dance set, which I had to look up. Do you know what a dance set is?
No.
I've got to carry all my cases, and I've got a dance set. And I was
I thought it was a suitcase.
No, it's a record player in a suitcase.
Oh my God. Yeah. Avril is the most chic woman. She's like 19, but she is already like 35 and like so chic.
Badass. She's one of the
Oh
best.
my God. I loved Avril.
I'd have said she was in her 20s. I didn't realize she was only 19.
Oh, maybe she is in her 20s. No,
she's young. No, she is young because it's a young mother and baby unit, isn't it?
Yeah, I just thought her and Denise were meant to be kind of similar in age because of their situations and everything.
And then Denise is there with her mum. Her mum's dropping her off. Her mum's really judgmental about Avril.
Yeah, but you can expect that, to be fair. But they meet at the clinic, and they are about to get onto the bus with Patsy to go to this mother and baby home.
I love how they slip out the side door because
well, of course you do. Of course you have to because of the shame, yeah. And then Patsy is like with them on the bus and stuff, and Avril's just giving it some about like where she works and all these lies, trying to basically the typical, bringing herself up to try and make it because she's so insecure. So anyway, they get to the maternity home thing, and that horrible cow was not even listening to Patsy at all. She was like, "Oh yeah," with all the notes and stuff. She was handing them over as like an actual patient. She was like, "Yeah, it's all the notes." While she was just there drinking.
But she was drinking hot milk and gin. That
is disgusting. That is disgusting.
Awful combination.
You know what's horrible about this? I thought that sounded quite good.
When we did the taste test for Horlicks, maybe we'll do a hot milk and gin.
Oh, let's do it next
week. Recap.
You can tell us how nice it is.
But also when Patsy went, and then literally a woman was like, a girl was going into labour, and they were like, "Get the wedding rings," and I just thought, oh my gosh, like I know it's 1959, but that just seems insane that they had to take a wedding ring to hospital. It just seems so.
Girls. So last night, my mom and I were looking for something to watch. We ended up watching this documentary about this group that was running in Chicago in the like early 1970s called Jane. The name of the group was Jane because basically it was a euphemism for like, are you pregnant and need help? Call Jane. And like Jane was like this, just a catch-all for like these women that were doing this group. But basically they were helping women have abortions, like right before America like legalized abortions. And the thing that one of the women said, because they were kind of setting it up, they were talking about like what the world was like at that time, which my eyeballs fell out of my head. I was just like, the way that, it was so shocking anyways, because anyway, whatever. But the point is, so this one girl, well, not girl, like woman now, like later in life, but she was talking about, I went to college and there was the pill and there was other contraceptives you could get, but you couldn't get any of them if you weren't married. And so when I got to college, one thing they said to you was like, not they, like not the college, like other like women who were in your like dorm room or whatever, would say to you was like, go down to Woolworths, buy a $5 wedding band, and then go to the doctor and say, "Oh, I'm Mrs. So-and-so, and I need the pill." And then that's how you got birth control. And she was like, "Isn't that crazy?" And I was like, "Yes, that is crazy." But like, I mean, just the insanity of the world ridiculous. That like women used to live in, like
it's like a permission for men.
Freaking believable. I mean, just men could never. I mean, I just anyway. So yeah, it didn't shock me at all when I saw that they.
On a completely different note, with Healthwise, by the way, I was loving the chain smoking of Avril constantly in every scene.
Oh wait, and another thing about Avril, can I just say her like end of term pregnancy fashions were absolutely amazing. Like that blue sweater with the big like super high waisted skirt, like tartan skirt and everything when she like picked up the phone and everything. I was like, I want to wear that outfit now. I was like, get me like a cropped blue sweater, like a high waisted and like her hair like in that cute bun. I mean, I'm a big bun head as you can see, but like she just looked so great like the whole
listeners time. You can't see, but she has got a bun in.
I do have a very high bun, yes.
Exactly. I loved when Avril rang basically Denise is
I was about to say
I was going to try and get us back on track because we've gone so off track and it's partly my fault. Anyway, Denise is unwell. She's got a fever. She's got a rash. She's basically got chicken pox. The matron,
but they still didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. And then Nicholas
didn't care.
Yeah, and then Nicholas went, and Nicholas's mother was like absolutely beside herself, and it was the matron was so uncaring, and she burst into the baby. And Avril was showing Avril was showing a real caring side. And then she saw that Denise had about a rash everywhere now after she was starting to feel unwell. And then
Yvonne, who was Nicholas's mother, I did feel really sorry to Yvonne because Yvonne actually says her and her boyfriend wanted to get married, but they weren't allowed because they weren't 21.
Yeah.
I know, it's such a
Oh,
shame.
so tragic, so tragic. Well, and the way that that baby was literally stolen from her
Yeah.
while she was upstairs, like
She was
getting baby
tricked
clothes
into
and
going
everything.
upstairs. It's awful. But
Oh,
anyway, so this all happens, and Avril's being really caring to everyone, and she notices this, and she's like, "Right, I'm not taking this." She was a badass,
yeah,
and she was like, "You needn't think I can't smell that gin." So she
Yeah.
rings Anata's house, and she was like, "I reckon you're going to find the regulations say all sorts of things, like not drinking on the job, like keeping the place clean, like making sure people get the doctors sent for when they're ill." And then she literally is like, "Operator, Nanata's house, poplar." That's the way she said it.
I love the way she said poplar.
Yeah.
See,
And
Alex, you would be an Avril. You have that type of personality. That's what you would do that.
do you know, I would. I'd get to a point where I would. I'd get to a point where I'm like a bit walked over, but then I'm like, no, this is not happening.
I loved when she rang them and Chummy answers the phone and she's like, "Are you the posh one with the ginger hair or the one with the glasses?" And Chummy's just like, "The one with the glasses."
But then Av was like, "Have I got news for you?" I love it. So then, I
love that Chummy's not the posh one though. That's the hilarious part. Chummy is way more posh than Patsy. And
I think she meant they're both posh. Are you the posh one with the ginger hair, or are you the posh one with the glasses, kind of thing?
Oh, okay.
So anyway, then all action stations then, and Dr. Turner goes out.
With Tim.
Yeah, who's going along for the ride.
Yeah. And Dr. Turner's like, "How dare we do this?" Like he walks in there and he's so incensed.
Did you notice Tim say he loves a bit of moral contagion?
Yeah, well, but Chummy's like, "To the mother and baby home, Tim," and he's like, "It's all right. I quite fancy a bit of moral contagion."
Oh God, girls, you guys are talking about all the quotes that I'm trying to use for the recap, and you're just burning through all of them. This is
while we're on it, it's when Dr. Turner tells him to run the engine and keep the windows up because I don't want pneumonia for Christmas. And he's like, "It can't be any worse than polio," because obviously that's what happened to him last Christmas. His one-liners were on point this Christmas special.
It really was.
Next week for the recap, all of my quotes are just going to be like, "Nanata's house, midwife speaking," and then I'm going to be like, "Who said it that time?"
But also, so they sent Patsy in the end to sort out the maternity home. The best person to send, her and Sister Evangelina would have been a whirlwind.
She bleached the whole thing in about 2 hours.
Organised everything, got everyone sorted, but she said she couldn't have done it without Avril, and I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
And Avril ends up keeping her baby.
Well, wait.
Has it first, Bex?
Let's just jump. Okay, so really quick. So Chummy has also been caring for Avril and kind of like making a bond. So when she goes into labor, Avril goes upstairs. They're like, "Okay," she's like, "Okay, old bean, the baby's on the way," or whatever. And then she starts to go into labor and give birth. And she says, "It's okay for you to like make no, like you can, if you, like when the pain comes, like you can scream, you can hold my hand, you can do whatever you want." And she's like, "No, I'm not going to do any of that." And basically, Avril tells the story of how when she was really little, her mom was horribly physically abusive to her, and when she would cry, like her mom was like, "Don't cry, like I don't want to hear that." And at first she would not cry as a way of trying to make her mom like proud, basically to show how strong she was, to kind of get through it without sobbing or whatever. But then she realized that her mom was never proud of her, didn't love her, was a horrible person. And she said, "So then I just stopped crying because that was out of spite for her, like because I just wanted to like show her." And she's like, "And if I didn't cry, then she'd get bored of it quicker, and so she would stop beating me faster. So then I would that's what I would do." So she's like, "So now I like never show my pain." And she's like, and basically she's just like, "This world is a horrible place. Like I don't want this, little girl to, or baby to have to deal with any of that." And like, she's just like, we're both on our own, and that's what it is. So anyway, she gives birth.
Well, can I just say one thing as well? Chummy's like, "Oh, guide's on her." She was like, "I was never in the bloody guides." Like that was really annoying me too.
And so she gives birth, and Chummy's like, "Oh, do you want to hold her? You've done all this work."
Well, also, it was a really horrible birth. It was a compound presentation, so it was a really horrible birth and like painful and awful. And she was genuinely worried about the baby, and Chummy saw that she was worried about her.
But Chummy uses that compound birth later because she comes to her after the fact, and she says, like, "Listen, like this little girl like really needs you right now, like she's your daughter or whatever." And she says, "No, we're both alone, like she's got to figure out this world now. That's like what this life is about." And she said she was born reaching out to you, like she needs you. Don't you want to like give her a hug? And I just, that line just was so heartbreaking. And she does come around, but you
know what, I know I'm going to be the contrarian today because it's already been 2 versus 1, but I feel like that was a bit cruel of Chummy because she knows the stigma.
I agree with you here.
Yeah, because I feel like she knows the stigma. They know they're going to be giving up the baby. Like she wants to detach herself. I feel like Chummy's trying to get her to get an attachment and then like have her ripped away again because she thinks she's not going to keep the baby. I actually did think that was a bit. I thought that was a bit much of Chummy. I thought if that was her decision, she was quite hard. She was quite good, being a hard face, and she was very capable, and she could have probably done it. And I thought Chummy forcing it was a bit much for Avril because I thought that was actually quite cruel on Avril in the end. Obviously, in the end, it wasn't. But
yeah, but then it worked. It worked out that Avril was going to keep her, but equally, she may not have been able to.
Yeah, it did work out. Like it was lucky for Chummy it worked out. Otherwise, I'd be really angry.
I just felt, I can understand where she just wanted to have that detachment because at first she didn't think she was going to keep the baby, and it was just going to make it harder.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, Denise's decision was so grown up. So her grandma, her mum, the baby's grandma, came to visit and held this baby who was so cute. And she was like, every Christmas I'll think of this baby. I thought, bloody hell, every Christmas. Look, think a bit more, mate. But she was so grown up with the decision. She was like, you can keep it and all this. And she was like, well,
I like the fact that I like the fact that her mum was like, you can change your mind,
Yeah, exactly.
But actually, she was.
Yeah, I thought it was so grown up and amazing. She looked like hell as well. She looked like Hellraiser or something with all those bloody pogs all over.
Oh yeah.
Can we talk about Chummy's dancing at the do as well? I loved it. So also Chummy, there's a massive snowstorm because obviously it's a Christmas episode, but Cynthia managed to get out of London on, but Chummy didn't, and Chummy was like, these brogues have never been confounded yet. I just thought that line was amazing, but confounded they were.
And really quick though, Chummy's trying to get home because she wants to help Peter study for the sergeant's exam because he's failed it twice. And he really wants to pass this time. And they even say like, oh, if I can pass it, then maybe I can get a posting out of like the East End.
Walthamstow.
I know, which we have a friend who lives there. Yeah,
we do.
And it was like, oh, maybe we can live somewhere like quote nice, like let the kids like kind of get raised in a.
Also, can we have a lols to Peter revising with donkey ears on because she's doing ridiculous. She's doing ridiculous amounts of donkey ears. I didn't realize why, and then I saw like the actual pantomime bit. Like the Christmas concert, there's like thousands of donkeys.
I feel like this would be me, like constantly crafting, trying to make stuff for the kids.
That will 100% be you.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that's so charming is they always have a little Christmas show in all of these Christmas episodes with the kids of the neighborhood, and every time they come up with the most adorable little like costumes for these kids, and they all look completely like DIY by like parents, and they're obviously put together by a costume department or whatever, but like all the little angels with like the paper snowflakes that are like paper clipped to their little shirts, and like the little tinsel and everything, and their little like white skirts and stuff, and then like all the donkeys with gray sweaters and stuff. I mean, it's just so flipping cute.
Other thing about the concert was right at the very start, Fred was like, Trixie said costume, right? And he was like, Trixie. And she was like, what? If that was my daughter stood there, she'd be like, what costume? What do you mean costume? Who are you dressing up as? What dressing? Like, honestly, I'm with Fred there. Like, that was unreasonable to say in front of children because honestly, you would not have been able to get anything out of her until like she just lit until you had an explanation. I'd have to think of something really quick, like she did, like he's joining the concert. But yeah, she should not have mentioned costume around the child. Oh, and also Peter passed.
Yes, he did. Peter passed his sergeant's exam.
Yes, he did. And
I loved it when Sister Evangelina was. This podcast is just me going, oh, I loved it when this happened. I loved it when Sister Evangelina was getting Peter ready for his sergeant, and she was looking after Freddie.
Yeah. When I was asleep, you moved heaven and earth on that. Now get out.
Well, and the thing is, sometimes Sister Evangelina is kind of, she does it so many times over the series where she's kind of like just her like gruff but like caring matter of factness is the right thing for the person in that moment. Like sometimes it's better just to have someone be like, no, you're gonna be fine, don't worry about it, no one's worried about it, you're gonna do great, get out the door. And then that's kind of what you need to hear to be able to do something. And I mean, who knows if that's why Peter passed, but I felt very strongly that she just gave him that kind of like, bedrock confidence. Like, no, like, don't stop worrying about it. You can do it. Yeah,
but she was also like, what's more important right now is family. You've dealt with that. You've got a family. That's what's actually important. Don't make such a big deal out of this. Get out the door, you nutter. And then he went out the door and he passed. I was going to say a swear word. But no, I've got a note here about the episode as well. Like, it was all so clever, as flaming per. That's why we love this show. It's so clever, all interwoven, all beautifully written.
Yep.
The sheep that went to Jenny, and she's looking for the old actual Jenny in the new days. Redgrave, Vanessa Redgrave Jenny is looking for this sheep, and then she finds it from a husband who's shortened by a foot. And he's like, you should get it down on paper. What? Right, my memoirs, I will after Christmas. Loads of people say after Christmas all the time about stuff as well. And I just thought that was a beautiful end to the show as well, though. And obviously a nod to the fact that it is about her memoirs.
And it was a better send off for Jenny because I felt this personally, that Jenny kind of abruptly was like, okay, I'm going, bye, and then she was just out the door. And I felt like that Vanessa Redgrave tie-in and everything really kind of gave her story more.
Well, now it makes
closure.
sense. It makes sense because they knew that was coming in Christmas episode. Exactly. So they were like, yeah, we can tie this up with Christmas episode beautifully.
It would have been better if it had been Jane and the Reverend Appleby Thornton.
Well, maybe that's who another card was going to next.
We need to make a T-shirt that says "Justice for Jane." That would be another great piece of.
Well, also you've just spoken about Jane. Different documentary.
Yeah, we could have so many meanings, just like every line in the show. Yeah.
Right, and Jane from Neighbours.
And I'm gonna have to watch all these episodes all freaking over again because every time I watch them, you guys like tell all the quotes that I'm gonna pull because.
Because we're really good at researching. Hello. Right. Heroes and zeros, ladies.
Okay. You guys go first. I'll go last.
Okay. I'll go first. Zero.
Oh, you're going to say Trixie.
No, I'm not. I'm going to say the matron in the home. Thank you very much. And even if I did say Trixie, I'm allowed. So do not judge. In fact, I'm going to change it to Trixie.
Oh, you blasted Trixie a couple of weeks back. That was your zero like 2 weeks ago. Don't give me
that. Was deserving then.
No, my zero is the matron in the home, but I want to join it with Trixie now. You've said that just to be annoying. But no, it was the matron. She was absolutely awful. And my hero is Avril because she was an absolute badass, despite also the fact that she would have been scared and she would have been terrified about being pregnant and having this baby. And it's not easy, yet she was still really caring for everyone, helping everyone else. She was an absolute badass. And I absolutely loved her and her dancette and her weird squash hat, however she said it was. I love her.
Don't set.
Yeah.
Very good.
My zero is going to be the care that Nancy and Victor received, and just the fact that all consent was taken away from them when they were in the mental institution, and just that whole experience for them, and also the fact that Victor needs, like, he can't afford a prescription, so he can't afford to keep well because they can't afford a shilling for a prescription. It's just so that's my zero. And then my hero is and he didn't do anything, but just Tim this week was on fire with his
he really was.
Okay, my zero is going to be Sister Monica Joan for saying that she was surprised that Trixie was smart enough to date Tom. I just thought that was so rude and horrible, and like her rudeness is just.
But she did save the life of a 14-month-old babe.
I don't care.
I
don't care about it. Literally anyone could have answered the door
I'm joking.
Same thing. She just is so rude. Like that's just so rude. Anyways, okay, so she's my zero. And my hero is going to be Cynthia because, Cynthia is so amazing. I just love her. We all love her, but the bravery and just her bravery for choosing the choice that the bravery for choosing the choice that she chose. Oh my God, Jennifer, you're so stupid.
I liked it. I liked it, Jen.
Okay, we're gonna just start that over again. Cynthia's bravery for choosing to join the sisterhood, or making the choice to become a nun, I just 100% think was so stellar. And if it's not a choice for everyone. Clearly, it's not a choice for a lot of people. But when you start to realize that you need to follow a different path, and that it's going to be a huge change and all of that kind of stuff, and it's really going to fundamentally take you in a different direction. It's not easy, and she did it, and I just think she's wonderful, and I love the way that they showed that whole journey in this episode. And so yeah, she's my hero.
I concur, that was good. Right, now, I'd also like to just say thank you, everyone, for all the amazing comments on social media. We've had so many again. So, carry on commenting, give us reviews, good reviews, please. And,
I also love everybody telling us like where they listen to us on their commute, and like just knowing where they're listening.
Yeah, it really makes me picture people like listening to it like out on walks, like while you're driving, like when you're doing such and such, or like I always listen to it on a Monday morning or something like that. Like it's so sweet to hear everyone's wonderful.
Yeah, we do read it all. We really appreciate it all, and we try and get back to everyone. So carry on. That was amazing. And listen to us on YouTube, and listen to us every week, and subscribe to us.
But leave a rating and a reviewing if you can, and all that good stuff.
But aside from that, thank you so much for listening today. This was going to be a tough listen. I'm not going to lie. We go off in every direction.
I know, poor listeners. We just were really talking a lot of crap at the beginning.
Hopefully some of it will end up on the cut and run floor.
No, to be honest, no, I can't bother this week. So you're gonna have to listen to it all. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, everyone. And
next week is our series 3 recap.
Oh, yes. They're my favorites because I don't have to do anything. Well done, Jen.
And
yeah, well, they're quickly becoming not my favorite because all the work I did do trying to do it in advance is now done for because anyway. So yeah, well, that's okay. I'll do it.
Can't help being comprehensive in our notes, Jennifer. What can I
all
say?
All my quotes are just going to be like, "You did what? Like, come over here, please. Next in line."
Put it in the drawer, Sheila. Anyway, right.
Oh, you know what I should do is I should only have quotes of Mature Jenny, and then you guys have to tell me which episode they came from, because that would be really hard.
That very much would be.
That would be.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, so look forward to that, everyone, next week.
Yeah.
So, we'll hope to see you then, or see you watching it, or I don't even know what I'm saying now. Right,
just see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye!
Bye-bye!